Well, hello, true gardeners. Welcome back. So today's video is all about going vertical. I wanted to share with you a way to take your garden from pretty cool, pretty tropical, pretty awesome to going straight up with very little square footage, but making it from good to great. Sometimes we're finished with the landscaping and the layers are in, the tropics are in, and everybody's like, oh my God, I absolutely love the way that this is turning out. I love the way this is looking. But as those things are growing in and establishing, I get the question, like how to make it your own, how to make those standout features. Now you guys have seen where I put pots and interesting accents and statues into the garden, and obviously that's a great way to do it. But I want to add one more thing to that list, and it's a wowza kind of thing. I absolutely love the way it looks when bromeliads are mounted to trees. I think that that's just a fantastic look. If you guys saw the video last week at McKee Gardens, you saw several trees that they had where the bromeliads climbed all the way up and you got all this variation of color, and it just looked like column after column after column of beautiful, beautiful plants, a beautiful color and beautiful tropical accents working its way all the way through the gardens. So in today's video, I want to share with you exactly how to do that. So we're going to do that in real time, you, me, and Bryce. Woo! And we are going to walk through this step by step. So I've got a couple different scenarios because I know you guys, sorry, Olive wants a little love, you guys. Share a little love with Olive. Isn't she gotten so big, y'all? So cute. So we've got a couple different ways that we're going to do this because I don't know your situation. If you've got some bromeliads in pots, then you've got to get out of pots like I have right over here. I've got some bromeliads that, oh my gosh, they are climbing out of the pot. So I'm going to release them into the jungle and allow them to do their thing right up a tree. Or if you have pots just like we have here, we've just purchased them from a nursery and they're still in soil. And the second thing that we're going to address in this particular situation that we're going to do today is going to be on a tree that we lost, a tree that we had to cut the canopy off. And I had some beautiful orchids on that tree. So I want to add these to that particular tree. And then towards the end of the video, we're going to do the same thing on a tree that is alive. So that way, no matter the situation that you guys have, if you got trees in your yard, dead or alive, you're going to know how to create this gorgeous, gorgeous accent feature in your own garden. But you guys, let's just jump right in. I cannot wait to get this started. So you guys, we have all of our equipment here. I'm going to kind of show you each one, and this is simple stuff. This is stuff that you can pick up pretty relatively easy. We've got 3 different sizes of zip ties. So depending on what you're looking for the space, if you're going to use nails, you want the small zip ties. If you're going to wrap around the whole tree, you're going to want these large zip ties. If you're going to need a little bit in between, you've got these zip ties. So these guys are a great way to go. You can use wire. It's not my preferred method because it doesn't stretch really well, and I never use fishing line because that is it's kind of tough. It doesn't disintegrate, so really you got to go in and make sure that you remember to cut every single piece. What I really enjoy using are these staples here, especially if you're working with a tree that is not alive. And if there is a tree that you absolutely have to use and it is alive, I'm going to show you a secondary option. And then there's another option here, and you could just use the nails. So you're going to see how we're going to kind of do this. We're just going to nail this section into the tree and then use the zip tie to attach the actual bromeliads. We're going to start with these potted plants because gosh, they need to get out and be free. And so I'm going to show you exactly how I go about cutting them, cleaning them, and then the next step to applying them to a tree. All right, you guys, so as you can see, these pots have seen better days. So there's no better time than right now to get these guys out of the pot. So what we're looking for when you have bromeliads, especially even whether in a pot or on the ground, you're looking for this stem right here. So you want to kind of take it and clear off as much of these old pups as possible. And then take out this. Now, I know this seems heartless, but really, they don't mind. These are roots that can really be pulled away and you're not hurting the plant. They're really getting their nutrients from these cones right here. This is where they hold water. This is where they receive their nutrients. And this little root system is how they support themselves. So all it really does is attach themselves to a location, whether it's a pot or a tree. So it's more of the supporting factor. You probably know this already, but each bromeliad will produce a pup. And so that's what you're seeing here. There's going to be a mother plant, and then off of that mother plant, it produces a stem and then another bromeliad. So more than likely, this section right here was the mother plant that died off. And then these are the pups from that mother plant. This is probably a pup from this plant here. So you're gonna see that as you put it onto the tree, it's going to multiply and multiply and multiply just like that. And they really do offer a lot of pups. So you're really getting the benefit of a lot of plants with just one plant. I'm going to just kind of clear this off. Now you want to do this at the time of the transplant because you can do it when it's up in the tree, but I'm telling you, this is the really good time while you can get in here and clean all of these old leaves off, and no one's the wiser. I like kitchen shears for things like this because you can sharpen them. I'll use my Felcos for things like the stems and cleaning things off, but to me, this is pretty easy to get into. My skin is super sensitive to these little leaves. These little leaves, even though they don't have teeth on the end like a lot of bromeliads, I'm still just the touch of this or the rubbing of this, it seems to irritate my skin. Some people have no problems with it, but I am one of those people who just dread it. So I'm not doing it today because we're filming, but a lot of times when I'm dealing with bromeliads, if you ever saw me on some of the shorts, I literally have socks. I use tube socks. I have socks up to here, and then I put my gloves on, and it does the job of just protecting. I know you can do rose gloves with it because they're really dense and really thick, but I really like these gloves that have a little bit of treading like this and then are really tight on my hands. So that way I feel like I can feel everything. I can trim, and I'm not actually making any cuts on my hands or anything like that. Then voila, we have a beautiful little section right here, and this is going to do a nice job of being a nice grouping on top of our coconut palm. So we have just enough roots here where it can actually start to grab to. You want to make sure that you put this right on the tree, and then we're going to attach right here. This is super, super easy to do when it's like this. I am going to show you the next step when you don't have so much stem, but this is by far the easiest. So if those of you guys who've got bromeliads on the ground and they're just growing and trailing and you're like kind of not loving them, pop them up, because at that point they have all these stems and now they become sculptures in the garden because you can literally put them on anything. All right, you guys, so look at how tightly these are wound right here. You can actually pull these roots just aside. I mean, I do pull gently. I don't like tug and tug and tug. Sometimes I'll use water to kind of spray the soil off of these, but these weren't too bad, so I didn't have to. You'll notice I'm gonna do that with the other ones. All right, you guys, so if you see this happening, this was the original mother plant. This is mama, and then these are the pups off of her. So it is absolutely okay to cut her out. It is okay to get rid of anything dead because she has already given life and given birth to these two guys. And how cool are they gonna look in the garden? So this bromeliad is called Margaret. This particular plant does not attach as well. So if you have this and you love this coloring, and to me this coloring is fabulous, what I like about this particular bromeliad is it can handle sun and it can handle filtered light and shade really, really well and keep that dynamic color. So this is a beautiful bromeliad and so long-term. You can have it for 10 years. It's not gonna be one that dies out on you constantly. This is one plant that's multiplied quite a bit and connected together in one solid root base. So that's exactly what they look like. Don't want to put this plant directly on a vertical place because it's going to take a very long time for it to attach. However, these plants right here, because of the way they pup, these are ideal. These are fireball, neo fireballs. And because of the way they pup, you can put this like this and another one will pup this way and pup that way and pup this way and every which way. So these are fabulous for that. But let me show you how you're gonna do that if you just bought a bunch of bromeliads. Say you went to the bromeliad place and you fell in love and you're like, will these climb? And they say yes. And you're like, okay, so how do I do it? Because they're in pots. We're gonna get to that right now. So when you have a bromeliad like this and you want to incorporate it and mount it to a tree, you want to take it, of course, out of the pot. Look at all those luscious roots right there. Well, don't get so attached because we are going to remove some of them. But I just removed the soil like so, all the way around. Now I'll repurpose this soil into a pot and use it for other things because usually any kind of planting soil is, you know, worth its weight in gold. You want to make sure that this is nice and light and easily supported by whatever it is that you're going to brace to that tree, because the goal is to allow it to get the nutrients from this area and the water from this area. It doesn't need that. As long as it gets enough here, these roots that you're going to see here are going to attach to the tree. Bromeliads are epiphytes, so they're not taking any kind of nutrients away from the tree. All they're doing is supporting themselves that way. So we're going to do the exact same thing with that one plant grouping that I took out. Now this guy didn't separate very well from the soil. All I'm doing is removing the soil. You see all of these roots, all of this, the same put. All right, you guys, so we're at the tree that we're going to do our work on. However, I did have my orchid grouping. They're just phalaenopsis. I'm not a big orchid collector. I do love the way these guys look. I love the way they hang with their white, beautiful blooms during their season. So I did not want to lose these. So that's why we're going to work with this tree. I cut it off about 6 foot tall. I kind of want this whole tree to almost turn into a column of draping orchids and upright bromeliads. So when I did my orchids, the tree was alive. I didn't want to quite screw into it or nail into it. What I opted to do was incorporate this landscape tie. Now this stretches and it's easily cut off once these attach. Now most of the time I'll put moss around it, kind of disguise it a little bit. But now that the tree is dead, I really can decorate the tree just like you would do a Christmas tree. If your orchids and your bromeliads are small enough, you can use the largest. These are called fence staples. And then you can just pretty much take the stem like you see here, and you can put the staple inside, and then you can attach it to the tree and just nail that bad boy in there, and that bad boy is not going anywhere. This stem happens to be a little bit broader, but I do love the idea of it going right here, right near my orchid, kind of tucked right into this spot. I hope you guys can see that. What you can do is take your typical 2-inch nail, put the 2-inch nail kind of at an angle. So you don't want it to go straight in, you want it to go kind of at an upward angle like this. Do a second one, just a couple inches over. And then all you want to do is you want to take your zip tie and you want to take and put this in between those nails, wrap it to the back, and tighten that bad boy right into his new home. It is so easy, whether you're using a staple or you're using these guys, and you can put it anywhere just by putting two side by side. All you gotta do is nip this guy. And then if I've gotta do this into a live tree, I'm gonna put a product right to my side here of a spray that you can put onto any kind of screw that you've got. Let it dry. So you want to put the holes in there, spray that spray, and it creates almost like a scab over. It protects it from any pest or any bugs getting into those holes. And then now you can apply your plant without any kind of harm to the tree. Another option is to just do just exactly what you see here, and that's what I started with, which is the tie method. So all you want to do is take this landscape ribbon and wrap it around the tree. You can do the same thing with pantyhose because they disintegrate. All you want to do is take that single pantyhose or knee high and wrap it around, tie it because it'll stretch a little bit and it'll support just the same way. So that's another option there. However, you can disguise it with doing something like the moss that you see here. So that's an option. An alternative option is using these little bungees that you have here. But you guys, these kind of get expensive. So you notice that I only have a few of these. I started out with these because I thought, gosh, it's a quick and easy way to do it. But honestly, you can just, it just takes no time to attach just like this. And it is the easiest, quickest, and least expensive way to do it. So it has become my favorite way of all. Now, because this tree's dead, I'm gonna go hog wild. I'm going to attach from bottom to top, all the way around, even the center. I'm going to put bromeliads everywhere because I don't have to worry about how many holes that I can put into the tree. Let's make it a statement piece in the garden. All right, and that's a wrap on that tree right there. I think it's come along really well. It's turned into the sculpture that we're hoping that it will, and we've left a little bit of room, a little bit of areas for it to really start to spread. If you guys notice, this is a different day. We lost so much light the other day. We were worried you guys wouldn't be able to see everything, and especially into this next section of the video. So we are now going to showcase a tree that is very much so alive. So let's pop over there and do that. All right, so we have picked our specimen in the garden. We are going to use my Arikiri palm. It is a slow growing palm, so this guy is going to stay put. We're going to see these bromeliads for years and years and years. I don't have to worry about this guy being 40 foot tall in no time, so it's going to be the perfect tree for this particular project. So we went ahead and started the process. You can see that I've got some nails already installed. I did it the same way that I did the others. You can see that I've got two kind of side by side at a little bit of an angle here and here and on the side. So I've got a few already going. So if you notice that you can see the little hole marks that the nails have made. So we don't want to leave that exposed because that's going to leave these trees exposed for pests, bugs, fungus. I mean, just it's not a great thing for palm trees. Many of you guys have probably attached material to hardwood trees and with not a problem. And because they do such a fantastic job of healing over their wounds, they're great about that. Palm trees, unfortunately, do not do that on their own. If you put a hole in there, there will always be a hole in there. So you want to protect it by sealing that hole once you're done. And that way you feel a little less guilty about putting a hole in a live tree. There are several products on the market. This is not a sponsored video. I just happen to use this product. I like it. It's done well for me. I don't have to worry or lose any sleep about my DIY projects that I do on my trees. So I'm going to take this now, shake it really good because it can get gunked up, and then spray it right on those holes. Once it dries, you're good to go. Now, in some cases where I've made some mistakes, I put in a couple different holes and had to pop out the nail because it loosened or whatnot, I'll do a second treatment of this. I'll go back over top of it, but it will absolutely seal and protect those, which is exactly what I want. So the selection of bromeliads that I've got here, I've got some Margarets right here. These are more clumping bromeliads. So these I tend to put more closer to the bottom. And then I've got some lemon lime bromeliads right here. And then I've got some fireball bromeliads, which I really love. Now, these can be mounted differently. They can be mounted just like you see here, or these, my favorite way to mount these is using fence staples. Get the larger variety of the fence staple. You could just put a little fence staple in here and then pop that in there and then it's done. What I love about mounting it this way versus mounting it by ribbon like I have this orchid mounted, the ribbon has a tendency to really pull and stretch some, so it moves around. And once these guys get some size, especially the bigger ones like these guys, then it has a tendency to pop loose or to drop too much. Because if you guys are putting your bromeliads on your trees, try not to put them straight up like you see here. Try to put them at an angle like this because that'll really help not getting mosquitoes and not causing water to sit. It's an ideal way for every time that it rains, it fills those cups up and then drains out. And I think it almost looks nicer when it's kind of shooting right out there saying hello as you walk through the garden versus straight up. And I see them often straight up like we were to plant them in the ground, but I personally like this look. And because they're so nice and secure, no matter how many get on it, that zip tie really keeps this nice and snug. We are going to pop this guy. So what I'm doing is I'm centering this stalk here on the middle of my two nails, and then I'm just going to wrap the three nails and the stalk nice and snugly together. All right, so you guys can see that the two nails on either side are really helping support this. I'm gonna clip this off, and then this stalk that you're gonna see here, I'm gonna add just some moss and kind of just disguise that a little bit. But don't worry about this being open because we're gonna put another bromeliad here and here and here, and well, you get the point, right? All right, you guys, so until I can get around to trimming any more bromeliads, this is going to suffice for right now. We're definitely off to a very good start. You can kind of see how we're climbing up the tree. I'm thinking about putting in some bird's nest ferns along the bottom because of course they're epiphytes too, so I can easily kind of pile them around the bottom to kind of give us almost like just a soft pillowy effect. So I think that that's going to come together real well. I think we might have a few more of these in us in the future. So thank you guys again. If you enjoyed today's video, then check out last week's video. I'll ask Bryce to put it right here, and we will see you guys next Saturday. Thanks. Take care.